I welcome all the students to the video lecture on the topic Scope of Application of Information Technology in Banking Sector. In our earlier lecture, we discussed about the nature of application of information technology in banking. The scope and nature of the application of information technologies in banking sector, these two topics are interrelated. While discussing about the nature of application, I explain about the process of information technology initiated in the banking sector. I explained about some historical background about the application of information technology in banking sector, and I mentioned that particular process as the process of bank computerization and how the bank computerization is essential, how the bank computerization is needed for the smooth functioning of the banking sector, how the bank computerization is important in the current scenario. These are some of the contents which we discussed in our last lecture while discussing on the nature of application of information technology in banking sector. Now in this particular lecture we are going to discuss about the scope of application of information technology in banking. Application of information technology in banking sector, how this application, how the implementation of the information technology in the banking sector will benefited to the banks, will be benefited to the customers, will benefited, how it will be benefited to the society as a whole, that we will discuss, and what variety of services, what types of services the bank do provide to the customers with the help of information technology. These all contents we will discuss in this particular topic while studying the scope of application. Nowadays, bank do provide variety of services to their customers 24 into 7. From anywhere we can avail the banking facilities. From anywhere we can avail the banking services. The efficiency of the banking is increasing day by day because of the application of information technology. With the help of few points, we can discuss the scope of the application. Now we start our discussion with these few points. The very first point, while discussing on the scope of the application of information technology, we can say it meets the internal requirement of the banks. It meets internal requirement means with the help of information and communication or information technology, with the help of the computer system, with the help of certain softwares, bank, it is very easy for the bank to prepare their balance sheets. It is very easy for the banks to maintain various records. It will be very easy for the bank branches to transfer their data, to transfer their records, to furnish their records to the head offices. Apart from that, they can do some calculations which are internally required. They do calculate the profits of the banks, they do calculate the profit and loss statements of the bank, they can very easily calculate the proportion of non-performing assets, they do calculate the various requirements. So in order to meet the internal requirements of the banks, in order to know the balance sheets, profit and loss statements, non-performing assets, to calculate these all things, the bank use the information technology. This is the first point which we can mention while discussing about the scope of the application of information technology in banking. The second point is about extending customer services. With the use of information technology, the bank can extend variety of services to the customer. With the application of information technology, the bank can provide variety of services to the customer. Traditionally, if we look towards the bank, what was the traditional service of the bank? It is to accept the deposits and lending loans to the customers. But apart from accepting deposits, lending loans, the bank do provide various types of services to the customers, variety of services to the customers. Through internet banking, through mobile banking, they are giving different types of services. Through ATM points, they are providing variety of services to the customers, and it is happening very easily. They can provide, they can extend these services to the customers, and it all is happening because of the application of information technology in the banking sector. We can pay our utility bills through internet and mobile banking. We can transfer our amount to the beneficiaries from anywhere, sitting in our home, sitting in our workplace, 24 into 7 at any time. We can transfer the amount through our applications, through our various gadgets by using internet and mobile banking. We can pay our energy bill. We can purchase various commodities online through e-commerce and pay the bills from our bank accounts. So these all services. With point of sales terminals, we can make payments at the retail shops, at petrol bunks. These are the different services which the banking sector is extending, is providing to their customers, and is all happening. These all things are becoming very easy because of the application of information technology in banking services, in banking sector. So this is the second point through which we can explain the scope of application of IT in banking. The third point is about effective use of data. The use of data is very essential for the future predictions and making some plans for the further development and extensions of the banks, for the expansion of the banks. With the help of this data, the bank is in a position to make some predictions for the development of their branches, for the development of their services. The database is very essential for making or from designing certain plans for the further development of the banks. The decision making process of the banks and the future planning of the bank depends upon this available data. Which type of data is required? How many customers are salarized? How many customers are minor who opened their account in the bank branches? This type, what sort or what types of customers are there in our banks who opened their accounts in our bank? Whether they are salarized, whether they are minor, whether they are businessmen. In this way, the bank can classify their customers and what sort of services they are providing to the customers, what amount they are dispersing, what is the annual transaction, what sort of transactions they are doing with the customer. These all data is available with the bank, and bank can use this data very effectively for making the decisions for future predictions and for planning, for making the planning for the further development of the banks. So this is the third point. Now the next fourth point is about reduced transaction cost. The application of information technology, it reduces the transaction cost for the customers as well as for the banks. It is what the cost efficient. It becomes cost efficient for the banks to apply the application of information technology. The banks and customers both will get benefit out of this application of information technology. Very easily, the bank with a very at a very cheaper cost, the bank can provide services to the customers. Even the customers can avail the banking services from anywhere. It not needs to approach to the bank offices. They can perform the banking transactions, they can do the transactions anywhere from sitting at any place. So in this way, and even the cross border transactions is also possible with the reduced transaction cost. Cross border transactions means transferring the amount from one country to another, or uh, receiving the amount from other country to the domestic country. It is known as cross border transactions. In case of cross border transactions, the application of information technology, it reduces the transaction. In this way, this is the fourth point which we can mention while explaining the scope of information technology. And the fifth point is development of new products. Development of new product means the bank products means the facility and services which bank do provide to the customers. These facilities and services are known as bank products. To develop new products and to provide some new services to the customers, it will be very easy to develop, it is very easy to provide these services to the customers through the application, because of the application of information technology in banking. The banks are in a position to design some new products, to develop some new products for the service of the customer. These are some important points, 5 points which I mentioned in this particular lecture, which explains the scope of application of banking, application of information technology in banking sector. In my next lecture, I will continue this particular point and explain some more points about the scope of application of IT in banking sector. In this particular lecture, I stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much.